scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize. Which side
That's wild. I had no idea that's why you are on the FBI's 10 most wanted list.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely crazy that's the reasoning.
Yeah, kind of just a fun fact.
And
A new fun fact.
And it was across state lines?
Yeah. Well, yeah. A few.
How many?
Think like California to New York. Kind of that expanse.
Oh, so like the whole thing, basically.
The whole country.
Yeah. I mean, did you go into Canada at all?
I'm not at liberty to talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, no, we'll keep that one for the private convos.
For next week.
Yeah. For next week, for sure. Oh, hi, listener.
Oh my! What?
What?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were here with us.
Oh yeah, no, just ignore anything that you heard.
None of that is usable in court.
Yeah,
It's all
in
none of it
law.
is admissible in court. So
True. Yeah, no, there was no Miranda rights read to you, so
exactly. So it's
Yeah.
it's like double jeopardy kind of.
yeah, something
what I
like
mean?
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
true. I'm
Daily double.
as your lawyer.
Yes.
As we've established before. I don't know if we've established that on the podcast. But,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as your lawyer, I would say that you're probably chill. So
Cool. Thanks, bro.
yeah, no
Yeah.
problem.
I feel good about this case. Yeah. Taylor, and Taylor.
Remarks,
Law
remarks,
associates.
and remarks.
remarks, and remarks associates.
Associates law. But yes, this is that podcast is the remarks. It's
It
the
is.
one
This is the one you're listening to.
leftism, usually hating America.
Yep. Yelling about
All
something.
the things, yeah, just yelling usually about
Yeah.
something like
feel like it's
atonally.
Probably going to be a bit of a yeller this week.
Probably,
For me, anyway. You know,
Yeah.
I am always.
You do,
I'm
you
always
do.
yelling.
I know. I must confess, listener, I was not as prepared as I was on our last current events episode. So we're kind of flying off the wing on my end.
It's
but
chill.
I'm just
I
gonna
mean-
find something that looks funny
Good.
or like interesting and roll
Yeah.
with it. So
Hit us up. Mine are all probably very depressing, so I'm sorry in advance.
that's all right.
But
That's all right.
we got to know what's going on in
True.
our world.
you always gotta
Yeah.
know. My name's Taylor, by the by,
I'm Phoebe.
and yeah,
By the by.
by the by. Yeah. So also it's been a week since we've podcast last or two, I guess. How are things?
Not great. I'll tell you that much.
Same.
Man.
Happy Mother's Day to all the loving mothers out there. If you are in a situation where you're not stoked on your mom, that's also valid, and you don't have to feel bad about not
God,
reaching
no.
out to a mom.
Your mom's just some lady.
True. Yeah. I mean, you don't
So-
owe your family anything, especially if they've hurt you in the
No,
past.
fuck those
so-
assholes.
For sure. But
Oh.
just always, I think, is a good reminder on like those kinds of holidays.
I know
that,
they're
like,
rough. They can be rough.
You don't, just because everybody is posting on Instagram about their mom to like try to seem like they're like loving and kind or whatever, like you don't have to. It's okay.
Yeah. And honestly, those people all probably have skeletons in the closet too. So.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
They always do.
Not to be so like negative.
If there's one thing about posts on Instagram is I don't trust a single one of them.
Oh, fuck no. God, no.
Like I believe the opposite actually. Like you tell me you found this new like fucking tea that made you lose 16 pounds. I'm drinking more coffee because I don't believe you.
Yeah, no. I will tell you one thing that's definitely true about those teas, though, is you will be shitting your brains out.
Yeah, I know. That's like how they like actually do it, right? Is they just
That's
like
what it
flush
is.
your system.
100%. Yeah,
And
the
then
like
you just
Khloe Kardashian like
Yeah.
tea that she sells. It's it's basically like you're prepping for a colonoscopy.
Yeah. So it's like, you're going to weigh less because you just shit everything in your
shit
body out.
Yeah. Which I don't know if you've ever had to do that, done colonoscopy prep
I have
before.
not actually.
It was a truly wild experience.
I imagine.
Yeah, I
remember
did.
my grandma doing it.
They gave me pills. You have to drink like a massive amount of water and then take like 12 of these huge pills.
Shit.
And I was like sitting here, not to just talk about me shitting my brains out, but I feel like that's
We talk about this often,
we
though.
really do. We talk about my like poop schedule a lot in the friend group. But I was like, took all the pills, and I'm sitting there watching like I can't even remember, Breaking Bad or like Succession or something. And I was like, I literally feel fine. Like I was really worried that it like wasn't going to work and then I wouldn't be able to have my colonoscopy. And then about 5 minutes later, I was like, oh, my tummy kind of hurts. And then about 2 seconds later, I was like, oh, Lord. And I left to the restroom and every single thing that has ever been inside of me came out. This is the emptiest I've ever been.
Wild.
Yeah.
I don't have anything like that I've ever done. However, I will say I have had an ultrasound once on my testicles. So that was interesting. Yeah. No, that's kind of cool. No, I was having pain and when I was like a teenager, so they like gave me an ultrasound to be like, yo, any cancer in there? Like what's up, right? And yo, what's up? They're like knocking on the testicle door being like, anybody home? And then it was fine, obviously, and the doctor just prescribed me wearing boxer briefs instead of boxers because there wasn't enough support, you know?
Huh.
But
the more you know.
Yeah. So that's a thing that can happen apparently.
Interesting.
But yeah. So I mean, I'm
glad your testes are okay.
Yeah, no, me too. That would have been weird to like only have one if they had like cancer or something.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it would be fine if I did.
Well, sure. A different life though.
Truly
one
a different life.
One testy Taylor.
That's what they called me in high school, baby.
Oh God.
But anyway, do you want to kick us off with a story?
Sure. We can kind of like popcorn back and forth.
Yeah, I think that's what we did last time, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Did we say what we're doing? We're gonna just catch you guys up, talk about some little current events going on, and just kind of like riff about what's going on in the world.
As we do. Yeah, I'm in kind of vacation mode. I'm leaving for a music festival.
Yay.
In like 3 days. So
hell yeah.
I didn't really want to do anything crazy.
I don't give a single shit. So
yeah.
Everyone who's listening, suck it. So as we all know, or as most of us I believe know, Donald Trump was arrested for this like sexual abuse trial.
Mm-hmm.
So this trial went down and results have happened. So, what has happened as of, hold on, let me make sure that.
Was this did it have ties to like Stormy Daniels?
No,
this
is a different one.
Okay, because I know that was a thing, but I wasn't sure which one actually sparked this, but.
This was published on May 9th, and this happened, the trial happened on... Opening up my calendar.
No, you're chill.
Oh, it's not opening. Okay, let me open up my other calendar over here. May 9th. This happened on last Tuesday. So I believe May 2nd is when this trial happened. Anywho. So, a jury found Donald Trump liable Tuesday for sexually abusing advice columnist E. Jean Carroll in 1996, awarding her $5 million in a judgment that could haunt the former president as he campaigns to regain the White House. I don't think it will. I have a feeling it will not haunt him. I'm sure that, like, in the debates it will be brought up, because... And so... Before I get further into this, being found liable is very different than being found guilty.
Yeah.
I mean, still the verdict basically is yes, he did this, but like legally it means something different. You know, he's not going to go to prison. He's not going to be like registered as a sex offender, which he definitely should be for multiple reasons.
100%.
But all that being said, I 100% do not think this will affect his political campaign at all, other than like other, candidates like bringing it up.
True.
But
it's almost like a Andrew Tate situation where like,
yeah, if
he plays this right, which he will, because Donald Trump is a fucking moron, but he's not stupid.
Exactly.
Like he'll say that like, oh, they were like trying to persecute me, and then it turns into this whole conspiracy about like, oh, well, they were just coming for him unjustly, you know, and his followers are already so deep that it's like it won't. I don't really think it's gonna have too big of an impact on his support by any means.
Well, and I mean, it's like he's literally still allowed to run for president.
Yeah,
even after being found liable in a sexual assault case. So you know.
Well, I mean, if we didn't let people run for president who were found liable in sexual assault cases, we just wouldn't have
never have a presidential candidate.
You know what, like the last 50 presidents?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know. Continuing on here. The verdict this is Associated Press, by the way. The verdict was split. Jurors rejected Carol's claim that she was raped, finding Trump responsible for a lesser degree of sexual abuse. So again, that's where you get the liable thing, is that she came in with her story being she had been raped. They charged him instead with sexual abuse, which, you know, okay. The judgment adds to Trump's legal woes and offers vindication to Carol, whose allegations had been mocked and dismissed by Trump for years, of course. Jurors also found Trump liable for defaming Carol over her allegations. Trump did not attend the civil trial and was absent when the verdict was read. Trump immediately lashed out on his social media site, claiming that he does not know Carol and referring to the verdict as a disgrace and a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time.
There it is.
Yeah.
What did I tell you?
Yeah. Outside the courthouse, Trump's lawyer, Joseph Tacopina, outside the courthouse, told reporters the jury's rejection of the rape claim while finding Trump responsible for sexual abuse was, quote, perplexing and strange. Part of me was obviously very happy that Donald Trump was not branded a rapist. He defended Trump's absence, citing the trial's circus atmosphere. He said having Trump there would have been more of a circus. Carol, in her own statement, said she sued Trump to, quote, clear my name and get my life back. Today, the world finally knows the truth. This victory is not just for me, but for every woman who has suffered because she was not believed. It was unclear what, if any, implications the verdict would have on Trump's third presidential bid. He's in a commanding position among GOP contenders and had faced few political consequences in the wake of previous controversies, ranging from the vulgar Access Hollywood tape to his New York criminal indictment. So yeah, as we were saying, I mean, it's just like, I doubt that this is going to have too much of an impact on his presidential campaign here.
Yeah.
Other than it's just like the people who already don't like him are going to not like him, and the people who do are going to say that this is bullshit, and, you know. Well,
and it's like, I remember like people were like really stoked when he like got arrested, you know, like everybody was like, oh my gosh, Trump got arrested. And it's like, I mean, again, I'm not saying like don't be cheerful when like people get what they deserve when they're terrible monsters, but it's like I didn't for a second think that Trump was like gonna go to prison, you know, like like if history has taught us anything, it's that like even if he was found fully guilty, like he would not have to actually go to prison. Like there would be like fines, there would be things he would have to do, sure, but he's, you know, people never get what they actually deserve for their crimes if you have enough money. So
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sad and frustrating and terrible.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Former
Arkansas Governor Asha Hutchinson, one of the few vocal Trump critics in this race, said the verdict was, quote, another example of the indefensible behavior of Donald Trump. Carol was one of more than a dozen women who have accused Trump of sexual assault or harassment. She went public in 2019 with a memoir with all her allegations that the Republican had raped her in the dressing room of a posh Manhattan department store. Trump, 76, denied it, saying he never encountered Carol at the store and did not know her. He called her a nut job who invented, quote, a fraudulent and false story to sell a memoir. She details all of the incident. I don't want to say incident. She detailed all of the rape that happened very well and succinctly. And of course, he went on to say that it's crazy and it's bullshit and this and that.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the quote is. It might not be in here. But there was like, so basically he sat and denied, saying I never knew her and this didn't happen and she's a nut job. But then there was another quote later on where he had said something about like, oh, well, we were just playing hanky-panky in the elevator. So he does admit eventually to having a situation with her in this elevator of a department store, which is, I think, pretty much there you go, is admitting fault.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I would say so. And also, yeah, it's like, I mean, I wouldn't, like, his track record has proved that, like, it's not even,
well, yeah,
I believe, believing victims is the thing to do anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no matter the situation or the person, but it's like, I don't have a hard time believing that Donald Trump, of all people, like, with his misogyny and his comments about grabbing her by the pussy and whatnot, would have raped someone. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And this is one of 12 women.
Also, another good point, yeah.
And there has been more. And, I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, this is our world. And he's not shy about being cheeky about it either. So, I mean, it's, there's no questions. But, yeah, will this affect his political campaign? No, because it didn't last time when it was like a 13-year-old girl who was going after him.
I mean, again, these allegations have been coming since he started running back in 2015 or whatever.
So, yeah, all that being said, I guess it's just like, hey, United States, maybe, if somebody is accused, even before they go to trial, if somebody is accused of sexual assault, rape, etc., they probably don't get to run for president anymore.
Yeah, no, they just
especially
can't.
If it's a literal child. And B, I think if somebody, even if it's not a guilty verdict, if somebody's found liable in court in a sexual assault case, I think, especially given this is going to be your second presidential campaign and these allegations and things and guilty or like liable verdicts are still coming out, you don't get to run for president anymore. It's literally like it's not mind-boggling or baffling.
You've lost the right to. And
yes,
it's like we have so many fucking rules about running for president anyway. Like, you got to be 35, you have to be a U.S. citizen, like blah blah blah, whatever. It's like
you would think that this might be one.
Exactly. Like this would probably be a good one. If you have criminal charges against you, you can't run for president, you know?
So I don't know how we like lobby to make that change. I'm sure we will probably never see it in my lifetime. Yeah. But, something to think about, U.S. senators who are listening to this podcast.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, I'm not even to say that, like, because there are, I'm sure, people out there who have done something terrible, served their time, and, want to make a difference, want to, like, run for some kind of office or do something. So it's not even to say, like, I don't want to make, like, a rule that would, like, affect, like, how a lot of laws will affect people that they're not really aimed at, like, it's used kind of counterproductively.
Yes.
But there's got to be some way of, like, being like, you shouldn't, even just, like, based on, like, money and stuff alone, like, maybe you're too rich and powerful to run a country. I don't know. Like,
and I just think, like, when it comes to any sort of sexual abuse, that, like, if you're literally in the middle of a case, multiple cases, that and multiple allegations, that maybe we wait until those are resolved for you to run. And again, I think, like, being found liable is enough to make you not be able to run for president anymore. But that's just one lady's humble opinion.
No, I feel you. What's my humble opinion? That we take an ad break.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, no, it's almost time. So
wow. Here we go.
There we go.
Taking a break. Taking an ad break.
Ads. Nice. Whew.
Cause my body too bootylicious.
We're just so incredibly back, let me tell you. True. Yeah, also what you said.
That. Guys, in my neighborhood, these young kids, probably teens, early teens.
Tweens, maybe?
I was thinking tweens, early teens, came by and asked to mow my lawn for, like, in exchange for money. And I was like, yeah, are you kidding me?
Yeah, of course.
And so now my lawn is mowed, and these little kids got to, have a little summertime job, just like it's like 1965 or something.
Mowing the neighborhood lawns.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I don't own a lawnmower, so I was like, fair. Have at it.
Fair and valid, honestly. Yeah, no, you should get, like, as Justin said, you should keep them on retainer.
Oh, yeah, I definitely am. Yeah, I got their number. So,
like I am as your lawyer.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm making this bit work, everyone.
No, bringing it back. Bringing it back. Anyway, y'all, if some little cute little youngsters come by and asking to do a little summertime job, say yeah.
Throw them some dough, you know? Like they need money to go down to like the malt shop and dance with their friends, you know?
Go to the sock hop.
Exactly.
Yeah, and tip them fat.
Yeah, no, tip them good, yeah.
Economy and everything.
Yeah, inflation and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Gumballs ain't a nickel anymore, so. So my story is kind of a conflicting one because in a lot of cases, I'm not necessarily against violence against congressmen. However, this one seems like directed at the wrong parties here. So this is from the BBC. The headline is 2 congressional staffers attacked with baseball bat. 2 staffers working for Virginia Congressman Jerry Connolly were injured on Monday after being attacked by a man wielding a baseball bat. Mr. Connolly, a Democratic House representative, said that one of the victims was an intern on her first day on the job. So again, I don't know that I necessarily feel like these people deserve to get hit with a baseball bat.
Yeah. I think like an intern at a political office is just like trying to
do their thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm the violence seems directed in the wrong direction, but the attacker is in police custody and both staffers were treated in the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. About 7,500 threats against members of Congress were investigated in 2022. In a statement posted to Twitter, Mr. Connolly, who had served in the House since 2009, said that an individual had entered a district office in Virginia on Monday morning and asked for me before committing an act of violence against 2 members of my staff. So I think, again, the goal was to beat up the congressman. Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems as though possibly kill him, but...
I mean, baseball bats do a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is a metal baseball bat.
Jeez, that's, you know...
He added that the thought of someone would take advantage of my staff's accessibility to commit an act of violence is unconscionable, that's the word, and devastating. In an interview with CNN, Mr. Connolly said that the assailant had struck a senior aide in the head with a metal bat and hit an intern who was on her first day on the job the side.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah, again, seems kind of... like misplaced anger there.
Yeah, and I just feel like I don't know. Like I said, frequently I'm all about violence, but like time and place,
true,
time and person.
Yeah, the right and just knowing like where to strike and how to like do it. I guess you know.
Well, and like, yeah, I don't know. This is a lot.
Yeah, I get you. CBS, the BBC's U.S. partner, has reported that a man with the same name as the suspect... in its own statement, U.S. Capitol Police identified the suspect as 49-year-old Virginia resident, I believe it's Zwan Khan Tran Pham, who now faces 1 count of aggravated malicious wounding and 1 count of malicious wounding. The same man was... suspected last year of filing a handwritten lawsuit against the CIA, seeking $29 million for brutally torturing him, in his words, from the 4th dimension. Also, his words. The Justice Department sought to dismiss the case earlier this year. So it seems as though the individual has some mental health issues.
Probably mentally unwell.
Yeah. And that's another part of the story that seems kind of sad. You know, is like. It seems there's was a mentally unwell individual who needed to get help and ended up committing an act of violence.
You know, having more access to, you know, actually giving money to programs like that instead of shit like fucking Cop City would be really great.
True, or like, you know, this like crazy concept called universal healthcare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Where you could like actually go and see a psychiatrist and a therapist and things wouldn't have to get as bad as they'd get.
Yeah, Bernie, help us.
Yeah, please. The U.S. Capitol Police, which are responsible for protecting members of Congress, have warned that threats against lawmakers have been rising in recent years.
No shit.
Yeah. In 2022, the force investigated 7,500 potential threats, though that was actually down from 9,600 in 2021. In 2017, though, the figure stood at less than 4,000. So I think it's not too much of a surprise that as like the political climate gets more contentious, there's a lot more threats of violence.
Yeah. And I wonder what their counting is that. Like, is it like, are they listening to this podcast and, counting
like what's
things
a threat?
that have come out of my mouth?
Well,
Which is all parody and not true and simply for the sake of comedy and joke. And I am
allegedly,
extremely unserious and alleged about all of these things.
And in Minecraft, yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah. All in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Exactly. Yeah, this is what you would do. One of the biggest challenges we face today is dealing with the sheer increase in the number of threats against members of Congress, approximately 400% over the past 6 years. U.S. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger testified in April. Over the course of the last year, the world has continuously changed, becoming more violent and uncertain, which I would agree with.
Yeah.
The issue of lawmaker safety was starkly highlighted in October when former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, was seriously injured by a hammer-wielding suspect at the couple's home in San Francisco. Speaker Pelosi was not at home at the time. And I feel like that... I mean, because, I feel like the right fucking hates Nancy Pelosi, more than anybody in the entire world.
Yeah.
Like, Nancy Pelosi and, Hillary Clinton are, the two most hated.
The top two, for sure.
I feel like they probably get so many death threats.
Oh, they must.
Crazy,
yeah.
So, and again, I don't like Nancy Pelosi,
No.
but I don't think anyone deserves... I don't know. I guess no one deserves to feel unsafe in that way from right-wing terrorists, I don't know that Nancy Pelosi's done anything that's that crazy, but I don't know. It's also, again, this is why it's conflicting because I'm
For sure.
also, fuck the government and we should be protecting ourselves and the violence that's being done to people should be responded with also violence, but I don't know. It's also beating up Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer, I don't think is changing the system necessarily.
That's the thing, right? How is that helping anybody? How is smacking a brand new intern with a baseball bat doing anything? And also, I have a feeling it was a woman, right? The intern.
Yes.
Did you say? I feel like she probably is not. I'm sure she's just running around and getting coffees and answering phone calls and organizing emails. It's I don't think she's the one that is causing destruction in our world.
Well, and I think a lot of it too is this was a Democratic senator, so I'm sure this intern and this aide are doing their best to try to make the world a better place.
Right.
Generally, I feel like Democrats are, tend to be better. I don't like either party, but tend to be better and a little bit more caring about the world than Republicans, So I'm sure she was just wanted to do her job and make a difference and and things that liberals think that government can do,
Right.
I don't think she deserved to get
and
hit
I'm
with
sure
a baseball
she's
bat.
also young. If
Yeah.
she's a new intern, it's I'm sure you're just a young person wanting to do the right thing. Anyway, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, kind of sad.
Yeah.
But a little bit less sad than your story, so.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
A little less bleak in some ways, I guess.
Perhaps. Well, my next story I have for you is about everybody's favorite, Ron DeSantis. Yeah.
Lovely.
As we know, so he is running for I forgot the word Republican for a second there. Running for Republican nominee for president. And just has been kind of doing some fuck shit along the way. I mean, he's been doing it for a while as the governor of Florida, but I feel like he's just been ramping his shit up. So anyway, his newest piece of some shit that went down on Tuesday, May 9th. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Monday signed legislation to defund diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at all state universities, which he called a, quote, distraction from the core mission. Quote, this is better viewed as standing for discrimination, exclusion, and indoctrination, and that has no place in our public institutions, DeSantis said at a news conference in Sarasota. So he is saying that his signing a bill to take away money from diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at universities should be better viewed as standing for discrimination, exclusion, and indoctrination. So he believes that DEI programs promote discrimination, promote exclusion, and promote indoctrination, which, you know, he's saying that it's like discriminating against people that aren't minorities, excluding people that aren't minorities, such as, you know, white people and males, white males.
Of course.
And, you know, the classic, like, indoctrinating our kids, these liberal universities, indoctrinating our kids to blah, 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 blah.
Well, I never went to college, and I'm a communist, so
exactly.
Explain that, Republicans.
Predict this, The Simpsons. Quote, if you want to do things like gender ideology, go to UC Berkeley, DeSantis added, which is just so...
That's so fucking funny, oh my god.
Like, what a... I don't know.
UC Berkeley.
I love... That's such a great quote. If you want to do things like gender ideology, go to UC Berkeley. There's nothing wrong with that per se, but for us with our tax dollars, we want to focus on the classical mission of what a university is supposed to be. So first of all, you are saying that there is something wrong with that. You literally just said that like one quote ago.
Yeah,
you said that
sure.
Like having programs or classes like gender ideology programs, which I don't even... whatever. That doesn't exist, I don't think. You're saying that is exclusive, indoctrinating, and discriminating. So you did say that there is something
do
wrong
have a problem with that. Yeah.
Also, I would love to know what the classical mission of a university is.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean to you?
And also it's like, okay, like I know that universities do get like some tax dollars and whatnot, but like also they cost like fucking $50,000 per student. Like, I don't know. Like,
and also, like, people can take whatever classes they want.
Yeah.
You don't have to take gender ideology, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to take, this isn't high school, so DEI programs, and even in high school, I don't even think it's the DEI classes are required.
Yeah.
But this isn't like a required course. You understand that you can sign up for the classes that you want, right, Ron? Do you get that? Like, this isn't a prerequisite. This is like a class to opt into or opt out of.
Ron DeSantis would be the one, though, that like thinks that like you go to college and you have to take every class in the college. Like, you like that's how you know you're done, when you've done every class.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure that his vision, or at least the vision that he's promoting of shit like this, is that they're like sitting kids down with like a big, you know, metal like helmet, injecting fucking like liberal ideologies into their brains.
Like, those like
forcing their eyeballs
open. I was gonna
open.
say, like, they have the like eyeball clamp things, and they're like
making them watch like Schitt's
gay
Creek
porn or something.
Watching gay porn. Yeah, it's like you will be
attracted
tolerant
to this. Yeah.
Oh God. So to get into it a bit more, also this is a CNN article, sorry everyone. Under the law, Florida state universities are banned from spending state or federal funds to promote, support, or maintain any programs that, quote, advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, or promote or engage in political or social activism. So, you know, the like non-funding of DEI programs is already bad enough, but then once you sort of start to uncover the pieces of this law, you realize that there's more to it, which is typically how these things work, right? Like, they start with one sort of overarching thing that most likely right-wing and conservative people will agree with and therefore like vote for, and then you start to pick it apart, and you realize there's all these other things like lying underneath it. Just like the there was that like what was it? Just a bit ago I was talking about this. It was like the don't say gay bill, but it was also like, oh, students can't speak to teachers about
exactly.
mental health problems. Like that was the secret bit. So anyway, this whole it's not funding no state or federal funds are going to these DEI programs or any programs that promote or engage in political or social activism. So that I feel like creates an even wider umbrella of things that now cannot be and I'm like, what are we, is poli-sci not allowed to be a thing anymore, you know? Like,
well, and it's just like, it's funny because like that's just like fascism.
No,
you know?
exactly.
Like yeah, you're not like necessarily like murdering your political rivals, but you're making it actually illegal to organize in any like way, and it's like that's authoritarianism. Like you can call it a fucking law or democracy because everybody wants it, but like it's not everybody wants it because there's these organizations exist now, so now they're illegal. Like I don't know. It's
and it's like, okay, so does this now exclude gender studies, women's studies, because you could label that as political and social activism? What about environmental studies classes, because you could also count that as political or social activism. Anything that because as it should not be, but it could be. Right, anything that's a political talking point, which is fucking everything.
At this point, it's everything. You know?
Like, how does this affect LGBTQ clubs that are going on at the school? Another quote from DeSantis: "What this does is reorient our universities back to their traditional mission, and part of that traditional mission is to treat people as individuals, not try to divvy them up based on any type of superficial characteristics."
I feel like you're keeping people from being individuals by not allowing these things.
Exactly.
And gay people exist, and that's part of them.
Right.
So that's who they are as an individual, and And I mean,
again,
logic's
it's
backwards.
Well, yeah, and of course it is, you know, but like there is no divvying either. Again, it's like this is an elective course.
Yeah.
Anybody could take it. It doesn't just have to be, a gay person or a black person. White straight people can take these classes too,
and
should frankly. But I mean, it's the classic thing of like just being afraid of teaching real history, which will teach that like the United States is fundamentally racist.
Yeah, like was built upon a fascist, like racist, patriarchal, homophobic, base that everything is built upon. Yeah.
The law also demands that general education courses, quote, may not distort significant historical events or include a curriculum that teaches identity politics based on theories that systemic racism, sexism, oppression, and privilege are inherent in the institutions of the United States and were created to maintain social, political, and economic inequities. So there it is right there. I mean, that is literally... They are taking away the ability to teach the truth of the nation. They are literally saying, and it's saying may not distort significant historical events, meaning may not deviate from the curriculum of fucking 5th grade, which tells you that, the indigenous people and the Pilgrims were BFFs. May not distort any historical events based on theories that systemic racism, sexism, oppression, and privilege are inherent in the institutions of the United States and were created to maintain social, political, and economic inequities, which is factual.
Insane.
That's just factual. So, I mean, this is literal fascism. This is literal authoritarianism.
You are rewriting history.
Yes, it's taking away the ability to teach about the fact that is just fact right there. And I mean, that right there being written into law is pretty much proof saying this is what's going on, right? Like, I mean, it's like it doesn't get more clear than that. You saying don't tell people this part or we will, I don't know, you'll get in trouble somehow is literally saying this is what is happening in this nation and what this nation is built on. I mean, this is what I say with all of these laws like this. This is why, like, every time something like this comes up that's like this large contentious thing, like diversity, equity, and inclusion programs or trans whatever, anything that's like that, abortion, whatever, like, dig deeply into what is actually being said in that law, because I'm sure you will discover a lot more fuck shit, and that it's being labeled as this one thing just to sort of get some rallying behind it, right?
Oh, yeah.
But then you go underneath it and it's like literal fascism, saying you cannot, basically, I mean, it's basically saying you can't speak poorly, not even poorly, you can't speak truthfully about the United States as a nation at all.
Yeah, and it's like, and you'd think that like for like this this base of people that are supporting this, that they would be like, you can't tell us what to like teach people.
Exactly.
But it's not that, because they've never actually been about like freedom. It's always been about control, and that's just what it is. But it's this like constant dichotomy of like these like gun toting, like, you can't tell me what to do, but also I don't want, you can't look any different than I do, you know? Exactly. It's so fucking stupid.
And I think we really need to keep our eye on this, especially with him, you know, wanting to become the president. I think we really need to keep our eye on this kind of thing, because, I mean, already our education system is fatally flawed and geared towards creating, you know, more conservatives and right-wing,
I mean,
people. But like, this is a big deal and really needs to be monitored.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And I mean, and I've been saying for years at this point that like the next Donald Trump that's smarter than Donald Trump, whether that's Mike Pence or fucking Ron DeSantis, someone who can really like get in there and fucking like take power in a way that isn't just like so like cartoonishly evil.
Exactly.
Like, that's who we really need to be fucking worry about, because that's like when we would be pushed into like like a more authoritarian state. Like,
exactly. Yeah, like DeSantis is far more well spoken, far more intelligent in different ways.
Yeah, like conniving almost.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
And I think less what's the word I'm looking
like
for?
Blunt almost. Like,
yeah, well, and I think riles people up less, just because he's not as like inflammatory. Like, he's sort of, I think, I know people are paying attention to him, and I don't want to say like we're the only ones, but like, I think he's a bit flying under the radar right now, just because he's not so like ridiculous as Donald Trump is. Exactly. You don't get these ridiculous quotes from him like, we need to grab them by the pussies, and Mexicans are rapists. It's like he just says things very like eloquently, and that's not a good thing.
It's like Barack Obama, like the most like well-spoken man you've ever met, and would could like bring you to tears in a speech about how he's gonna bomb Syria more, you know, it's that kind of shit where it's like just like he's just so like good at like masking like his intentions over like these like beautiful prose and whatnot. You know?
Yes.
And maybe not to the extent of Barack Obama, because like, again, that man can fucking speak.
But you know,
he's like that. Yeah,
this is scary. Okay, let me just finish this out and then bring us to your next piece, Taylor. DeSantis signed the legislation at the Liberal Arts New College of Florida, where he has been steering a conservative takeover. Earlier this year, DeSantis replaced 6 members of the college's board of trustees with conservative allies. Shocker. In addition, the law gives university presidents and boards of trustees more hiring power. There it is again. Yep. More pieces to this that shows what this is truly about.
Yeah.
Quote, they're more accountable to the people of Florida who they're using our tax dollars, DeSantis said. It's easier to be able to make changes if they're failing at their mission.
Good.
So there you go.
Yeah. Well, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Again, what is not terrible is this second break.
Oh, break.
Alrighty, lads, we are back.
We're back.
We're back. And I'm going to jump into my next little story. I do all my articles from the BBC, so if I forget to mention it, they're all from the BBC.
Which I feel like is a pretty good, especially for like American stories. I feel like is a pretty good. You're like just gonna get a nice overview and most likely impartial.
Yeah, usually pretty impartial, and like I feel like they're just pretty good about like. I mean, most places are, I guess, but like they label their like think pieces as like think pieces, you know, or like opinion columns or whatever. But,
right.
yeah, it's not. I don't know. Like they're like just news stories are generally pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
So headline of this one: Mike Pence testifies in criminal probe of Trump and Capitol riot. Former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence has testified as part of a criminal investigation into alleged efforts by Donald Trump to overturn his defeat in the 2020 election. Mr. Pence, 63, sat for more than 7 hours before a federal grand jury in Washington, D.C., sources told the BBC U.S. partner CBS News. He was issued with a subpoena to testify under oath earlier this year. The questioning by prosecutors took place behind closed doors, so don't know exactly what they asked him.
Mm-hmm.
His appearance on Thursday came just hours after an appeals court rejected a last-ditch bid by Mr. Trump's legal team to stop Mr. Pence from testifying. So, yeah, they obviously did not want him to go on and say what he was going to say. His eventual testimony, which had been sought for months, is a major milestone in the 2-year investigation, which is being led by special counsel Jack Smith, a former war crimes prosecutor who was appointed to the role by Attorney General Merrick Garland. The investigation has been gathering evidence about whether Mr. Trump and his allies broke federal law in their efforts to challenge the result of the 2020 election, which was won by President Joe Biden. I would say it should be like starting like a riot to overthrow the current. I mean, I don't know. Again, like overthrowing the government's cool, but like,
but not like that.
Yeah, do it a little differently, I guess. But yeah, like I guess I can't blame the like existing government to be like, hey, you can't overthrow us. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah,
it is what
it just. I mean, I also just feel like, I mean, he literally, Trump, I mean, literally, like, we have physical voice and video recordings of him saying, and literal tweets from the man's own fingers saying, I lost this election. Make sure that I didn't, like, that I'm able to take my part. Like, it's just like,
true.
This whole thing.
And, like, he's referenced multiple times that, like, I mean, it didn't necessarily end up happening, but like he was like, the police have my back, so like if I lose the election, like they'll back me up and stuff. So it's like he was trying to do a coup, you know, like he was again doing a fascism here, but
yeah. Which once again, I feel like we've brought this up a few times on this show, but like I think we all need to frequently take a moment to just kind of sit back and remember that was a thing that happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Possibly for the first time in history, like, at least, you know, American.
Yeah.
That, like, literally a president said, I did not actually lose this election. This is fraudulent.
Mm-hmm.
Go and make sure that you take back what is rightfully mine. And then people did do that at a very large scale.
Yeah.
And I mean, it didn't, you know, things didn't go through, but a lot sure did happen. Like, it's just like sometimes I just have to like remember that happened and just be like, Jesus fucking Christ, it's been a real crazy couple of years, folks, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, just the fact that like there was enough people to like actually break into like the U.S. Capitol and like force the like politicians out. It's like I mean, I wouldn't say it's I'm not anti-uprising, but like that's a fascist uprising. Like,
yes,
it's not, I don't know. Yeah. It's like
that's a frightening reality that literally happened. Like, yeah,
it's wild. I mean, you
just
talk about like fucking Mussolini's March on Rome or like fucking Hitler's like, what do they call it? Like Night of Long. What the fuck is it? It's like Night of Long Knives or something.
Oh yeah, the Night of the Long Knives.
Yeah. Like where he like went and killed everybody else. Like everybody, like his uprising took hold. Like they were trying to do one of those, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. Maybe people are aware, but it's just like, y'all, we are at a very dangerous place right now.
I mean, yeah,
and have been for a while, but like. the tipping point, if not has already happened, it's like, yeah, I feel unsafe.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really difficult to see how this situation can be de-escalated, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. Like, people are just so radical on both sides of everything now. Like, it's, I don't know. It's hard because it's like, I obviously want the side of radicals that I'm a part of to win, you know, but like, it's very scary to think of what would happen if we don't.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's going to simmer down to like a centrist kind of vibe again.
Or a pleasant discussion or anything. And I mean, even if, you know, let's say, quote unquote, our side does win, the getting to that point is going to be very bad.
It's rough. Yeah. It's rough to think about what would need to be done. And like, there's, I mean, I don't see a way out of it that doesn't involve lots of violence.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But I don't know.
Continue.
It is also investigating and this is the like council or the investigating the U.S. Capitol riot on the 6th of January, 2021, when Mr. Trump's supporters stormed the building in an effort to prevent the election result from being certified. Mr. Pence, who, like all vice presidents, was also president of the Senate, a mostly ceremonial role, could, in theory, have derailed the final certification of the election results and delayed the transfer of power. Mr. Trump publicly pressured his vice president to do so, and his refusal led him to lash out at Mr. Pence. Trump supporters then chanted, "Hang Mike Pence," as they stormed Congress and marauded through the corridors of the Capitol building as politicians, including Mr. Pence, sheltered inside. Mr. Pence is considered a key witness in the investigation, and while it's not immediately clear what he told the grand jury, prosecutors will likely have asked him about his interactions with Mr. Trump and his team in the days and weeks leading up to the riot. "We obey the law. We tell the truth," Mr. Pence said in an interview with CBS on Sunday. "The story that I've been telling the American people all across the country, that'll be the story that I tell in that setting." Mr. Pence has spoken publicly about the Capitol riot and the pressure he faced to challenge the election result. "President Trump is wrong. I had no right to overturn the election," he said in a speech in February. In his memoir, So Help Me God, Mr. Pence wrote... It would be the name of his memoir. Mr. Pence wrote that Mr. Trump had attempted to pressure him into blocking the certification of the election result on the morning of the riot. You'll go down as a wimp and then president apparent. Okay, wait. This is a quote that Trump said. He says, "You'll go down as a wimp," the then president apparently told Mr. Pence.
Which, like, you know, quotes like that right there is why... Like,
now I can take him seriously.
Ron DeSantis is the scarier version of Trump, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. Mr. Pence is reportedly considering a presidential bid of his own in 2024, which would see him challenge his former boss directly for the Republican nomination. Mr. Trump, who has already launched his bid to return to the White House, was in New Hampshire on Thursday for a campaign event. When asked by NBC News about Mr. Pence's testimony, he commented, "I don't know what he said, but I have a lot of confidence in him." The former president is facing other legal issues, including another federal investigation led by Mr. Smith into the potential mishandling of classified documents. There is also a separate investigation in Georgia into alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. So, yeah, lots of investigations going on into Trump because he's a crime guy, you know?
Yeah,
big on the crime.
So many crimes.
Yeah.
And how many guilty verdicts to these crimes are we actually going to find? Probably like one.
True, yeah. I mean, if any.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like what we've been sitting here for how long, like waiting for these things to happen. It's 2023 now. Like.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, we have a man who literally like lied about the results of an election, attempted to overturn those results, basically was like the spearhead of a coup against the government for a fascist overtaking, still gets to run for president. Still running for president. That was not enough to get him out of the election. Still gets to run for president again. After all of that.
Yeah.
After he is literally under investigation and ongoing trials about the attempted coup.
Also after being impeached.
After being literally impeached. Again, still gets to run for president. It's just a bit
wild.
like, I think this has really pushed to the forefront the question of like, what will it take? What will it take?
Yeah.
What truly do you have to do to be taken out of the running for president of the United States? Like, where's the line? Where is it?
Oh, I don't know that there is one.
Apparently
if
not.
You're rich and powerful enough,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
It's good. It's fun. We love it.
It's great. Well, I've got one last for you that's equally as depressing. So sorry, everyone. It's a rough one, but you know, it's current events. So
what do you expect?
What's
Everything
going on
is
currently?
On fire all the time. Yeah.
I am going to talk about the mass shootings that have occurred in America so far in 2023. According to ABC News, there has been 131 mass shootings with 4 or more people wounded or killed so far in 2023 compared to 113 this time last year. Reminder, again, it is May 15th. We're
Jesus Christ.
maybe halfway through May. So the 4th month, January, February, March. Oh, sorry, 5th. The 5th month of the year. So we're not even halfway through the year yet. The United States has faced at least 202 mass shootings so far this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. There has been more mass shootings than days in 2023. Well said, ABC.
Yay.
Thank you.
No, that's so good.
And then I don't know. I guess not to just like hammer it in more about how awful this has been, but I guess just to sort of give a bit of like what these have been. What these mass shootings have been. I have an article from the New York Times, and it's not all of them. It's a partial list of these shootings thus far, but just to sort of like, because there is literally like one a day, multiple a day actually.
Yeah,
they just said there's been more than days. So they're, given the fact that there's multiple a day, we cannot keep up with all of these. So here's a few that have been going on. Also, I had a dream about a mass shooting last night. That just came back to me.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, it was awful.
I imagine.
It was really awful. Anyway, so obviously, you know, my subconscious is doing great, as I'm sure all of ours are.
Yay.
Okay, so, here's a small piece of this year's shootings from the New York Times. May 6th in Allen, Texas, a gunman opened fire at a crowded mall outside Dallas, killing at least 8 people and injuring at least 7 before a police officer killed him. May 3rd in Atlanta, a gunman opened fire in a waiting room at a medical office building in Midtown Atlanta, killing 1 and injuring 4 others. The suspect was apprehended after a manhunt that lasted several hours. May 1st in Henrietta, Oklahoma, a registered sex offender fatally shot 6 people, including his wife and 3 of her children, before turning the gun on himself at his ranch in Henrietta. April 28th in Cleveland, Texas, a man fatally shot 5 people after he was asked by a neighbor to stop firing a gun in his yard. The man was found after a day-long search involving state and federal officers. April 15th in Dadeville, Alaska, or Alabama. I don't know what the shortened thing is here.
I think it's
ALA.
ALA?
Yeah.
I think
they're
that's
like
Alabama? I don't know, actually. Isn't that AL? So maybe it's Alaska.
Perhaps. They're not. Anyway. Taylor, find out where Dadeville is. Dadeville. It's Alabama. Sorry, I should have just read
cool.
2 seconds further.
No,
anyway,
fine.
April 15th in Dadeville, Alabama, 4 people were killed and 32 others were injured in a shooting at a birthday party at a dance studio in the Alabama city. Officials in the Alabama city. Days later, the authorities said 5 people had been charged in connection with the attack. April 10th in Louisville, Kentucky, a 25-year-old man shot and killed 5 colleagues at the downtown bank where he worked. 8 others were wounded in the attack. The suspect was killed by the police officer exchanging fire with them. which should have just been written as the police officer shot and killed him. But you know how that wording always tends to go.
Yeah.
March 27th in Nashville, a heavily armed assailant shot and killed 3 children and 3 adults at a private Christian elementary school. I didn't even hear about this one.
No.
Didn't even know about this
one.
How
could you hear about all of them?
Exactly.
There's more of them than there have been days.
Yes. The shooter, who the authorities said was a former student at the school, was shot and killed by the police. February 19th in Memphis, 11 people were shot, one fatally, at 2 separate crime scenes that the authorities said they believed were connected. So literally 2 in one city in one day at one time. Perhaps connected, but you know. Investigators said that they had identified 3 people of interest who they believed could be involved in the shootings. Their names were not made public. February 17th, Tate County, Mississippi, a 52-year-old man went on a shooting rampage at multiple locations in rural Mississippi, killing 6 people, including his ex-wife and 2 siblings who were both in their 70s, the authorities said. The gunman, who was taken into custody, began his killing spree at a convenience store in his hometown in Arcabutla, Mississippi, where he fatally shot a man who appeared to have no connection to him. Arcabutla is an unincorporated community about 45 miles south of Memphis. February 13th, East Lansing, Michigan. 3 students were killed and 5 others were wounded in shootings at 2 buildings on the Michigan State University campus. The gunman, a 43-year-old man who had no known connection to the university, died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. February 1st, Washington, D.C., a gunman attacked people on a bus inside a metro station in southeast Washington before bystanders tackled him and officers took him into custody. A transit employee who tried to intervene was killed and 3 other people were injured. Okay, I've got just a few left. I'm so sorry, everyone. This is very intense.
No, I mean, it's important.
It's factual, and it's like, boom, 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 story after story after story.
I have a palate cleanser for the end of this.
Thank you. Thank you. January 28th, Los Angeles. 3 people were killed and 4 others wounded in an early morning shooting in an upscale neighborhood near Beverly Hills. The Los Angeles Police Department said the shooting took place at a short-term rental. January 23rd, Half Moon Bay, California. 7 people were fatally shot and 1 was transported to a hospital with life-threatening injuries after a gunman opened fire at 2 separate farms. A 67-year-old man who lived and worked at one of the farms and previously worked at the other was arrested, and authorities believe he had intentionally targeted his victims. January 21st, Monterey Park, California. A 72-year-old gunman killed 11 people and wounded at least 9 others at a dance hall in a predominantly Asian American community as they celebrated the Lunar New Year. The police were investigating the motives of the gunman, who police said was found a day later dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. 2 more. January 16th, Goshen, California. 4 generations of a single family were fatally shot by 2 intruders inside a home in California's San Joaquin Valley. The dead included a 72-year-old woman who was asleep in bed, a teenage mother and her infant, and a 19-year-old man. Although some members of the family had been involved in gangs, the police said the nature of the attack appeared to be a calling card of Mexican drug cartels, according to the police. January 4th in Enoch, Utah, 8 people, all in the same family, were killed inside a home in what police said was a murder-suicide. The victims included 5 children, ranging from 4 to 17. So there you go. That's like a literally very incomplete list of just some of the mass shootings that have gone on in this country for 5 months. Not even 5 months yet. And literally, I think I heard about perhaps 2 of them.
Yeah.
Not even the one, I didn't even know about the one that went on in Utah.
Yeah, no.
I hadn't even heard that story. So
I say definitely go listen to our previous episode. I think it's Land of the Free, Home of the Dead is what it's called.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Yeah, it's the one that we did on mass shootings and gun control and things along those lines. I don't think we need to rehash it all right now.
Exactly, yeah. It's a heavy listen, but I mean, it's stuff. Just... I don't even know what to say anymore or what to, like, I don't know. But it's just, like, the fact that it's a trend now that, you know, the count for mass shootings that have occurred in this country
outpaces the number of days.
Yes, like, we can't even, like, it's not even alarming news anymore, or...
It's like, wow,
nobody
another
even
shooting.
Is aware of, honestly, like, it's like I don't even really hear about any of them anymore, or at least, or I do and it passes me by and I'm just like, I can't stomach this. I can't bear to even read the headline because this is the 5th one I've seen today. What am I supposed to do? Like, fuck. Ugh.
Would you like to hear this palate cleanser?
Please,
it's
God.
It's a nice one, actually.
Please, God.
I just found it because I figured that one would be heavy.
Yeah, sorry. I probably should have maybe led with that. I don't know.
It's okay. Don't even sweat it. This is back from March 25th, so it's a little old at this point, but it is very uplifting. A pet tortoise has stuck its neck out by making an unexpected return 7 months after going missing, leaving its owner shell-shocked. Despite a lack of speed, Mary escaped from her home in Wigan, I think that's a place in England, in August, much to the dismay of owner Harvey, who's 9 years old. But the wandering reptile was discovered last week, seemingly having had a power nap at a nearby electricity substation. And they quote, power nap.
The puns!
Harvey's mother, Jody, said he was devastated when Mary went missing, but seeing his reaction when she was found made a few of us cry. She said the family's hopes of finding Mary had been dashed after a cold winter. We just thought there's no chance, Jody explained. All had been well up to August, and Mary was used to being outside. During the summer, we regularly let her out in a small pen, and she's quite well known on the estate. But that evening in August, she somehow got out of the garden, and despite searching all over, there were just no signs of her, and we thought she'd been taken.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. There was then an unexpected development. Ben Bexendale, grounds maintenance operative for Power Network Electricity Northwest, found the pet while clearing litter from a substation supplying the local area of Norley. At first, I thought it was some sort of toy on the floor, Mr. Baxendale said. Then I saw the tortoise move and retract its head into its shell. We always make it clear that no one should ever enter our substations. They have a danger of death signs for a reason. But this is the first time I've ever seen a trespassing tortoise. With properties just meters away from the substation, Mr. Baxendale started to knock on doors. The first person to whom he spoke turned out to be Harvey's grandmother, who instantly identified the tortoise as missing Mary. Jody said, there was all sorts of emotions when we saw Mary. It was such a heartwarming moment to see the smile on Harvey's face.
Aww.
I know.
That's really
nice. He
nice.
got his tortoise back.
I literally want to cry.
Yeah.
That's really nice. That reminds me of this video I saw one time of this little boy. It was like not technically his like emotional support cat, but like this cat was like his everything.
Like his BFF cat.
Yes. And the cat had been missing for like, I think it had been a couple of years.
Whoa.
And it was found, and it was like a video of the return, and it was just, I like literally wanted to just sob my fucking eyeballs out. It was just one of the sweetest, like most wholesome. And the cat like instantly recognized him, and the little boy was just like so overwhelmed with emotions. Oh God.
That's so
Animal
cute.
returns fucking will get me every single time.
True.
Literally anything to do with animals. Taylor and I were watching a video of an otter, a rescued baby otter, having its first swim lesson, and tears were in my eyeballs.
No, for sure. A few weeks ago, my partner Eden, the cat that lives at their house, named Zeppelin, he went missing for a few days. Which a few days, you know how the story ends. But yeah, we were like looking all over for him. We didn't know.
It's terrifying.
Eden and I were literally like watching a show or something like in their room, and we like hear a meow outside the window, and we were like, wait, we know that meow. So I like go to the back door and open it up, and he just comes curling around the corner and waltzing up like he hadn't even been gone for 3 days.
Oh God.
We're like, what were you doing? Were you
Zeppelin.
like, yeah. But yeah, no, so Zeppelin's back, and he is air tagged now. So
smart. We almost lost Marceline the cat the other day. We had her out in the backyard.
Marceline.
And she goes out in the yard occasionally, much like Mary the tortoise.
Yes.
And she just like got a little curious and wandered off, and she was missing for probably less than 20 minutes, but it was like the most stressful 20 minutes of my life. And then I was like back in my room, and Justin, our friend / he lives with me now, just holds her up to my window, and I was like, oh thank God.
Air tags are important.
Goated.
And you should, if you have a cat that goes outside but is also like an inside vibe, I would suggest getting an air tag and just so you know, like, you know, you're like, oh, he's 3 blocks over.
Yeah,
like
everything's fine.
he can chill, you know, or if he's, if you're like, oh, he's, you know, the next town over, maybe I should go get him.
They do make GPS collars as well.
Yeah, that's also
any little things like that. It's a good idea. Microchip your pets, you know, all the things. I mean, obviously you can't like geolocate them, but if they take him to the vet, it's like, oh, this is Taylor's cat. Great.
Exactly.
Fine.
Yeah. Like you can get in touch with me and
Yeah.
things like that. If you have an outdoorsy kind of cat, I don't really let my cat outside very often. I live next to a pretty busy road, so I don't feel good about it yet. But
yeah, if you're really depressed now, go look up some stories about animal. What's the word I'm looking for?
Returns,
reuniting, reunifications.
Yes, no, that's good.
Because that always makes me feel better.
Agreed.
And yeah, take care of yourself. There's clearly a lot of crazy shit going on, and some of these stories are like a week or 2 old, if not a bit more. So, you know, I mean, more crazy shit has transpired in the last few days and will probably continue to transpire. But, you know, I mean,
Agreed.
Fuck. Take care of yourself.
Please do. Just, be safe. You want to do a little plug?
Let's plug. You can go follow our Instagram, which is at Remarks Podcast.
Please go to twitter.com. It's at RemarksPod. You can look up my personal music, which is Taylor Lacey on streaming services, and my personal Twitter is at Vegetable Trash.
And my personal Twitter is at Phoebes Elise. Still waiting on that Blue Sky invite.
I know, yeah. What the fuck?
I do have a feeling though that I have a fear that Blue Sky is just going to be a bunch of like annoying liberal people though.
Yeah.
That's just my personal, what I've seen who has Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Now I'm like,
truly.
Really want to see what you have to say. I don't want to see you be shocked that BYU is doing something shitty again for the 8 millionth time.
Yeah. And then be like, could we have seen this coming? Yeah. But yeah, and then leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Pretty please. And
big shout out to our patrons.
Yeah, Tere Soltero.
Justin Vass.
Andrew Vass. I forgot his name. Sorry.
Eden.
Love you. And is that
Emily Doran.
Oh my god, an Emily Doran. I'm sorry.
Our number 1, our favorite.
Yeah. Our fucking MVP, fucking cinnamon apple.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You guys are amazing and we love you, and we will be posting pretty soon here. Probably once Taylor gets back, we will post a reading from that Scientology book that you got me.
Yes, no, we really do need to
We definitely have to do that because I'm so intrigued.
True. Just been wild, but the bonus episodes are still there. I mean, we have quite a big catalog of them at this point.
We have a great catalog. And yeah, as we were saying, both our lives have been quite crazy, but they're coming.
Yeah,
they're happening.
We'll start cranking them out still. Don't worry.
Everything's
we'll
fine.
Give you some extra con.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
Anyway,
thanks for listening, and
K love you. Bye.